Hang on. What was that? Who's got a bird? Who's got a bird?
I hear a bird too, but I think that's Lincoln. He's sitting outside.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Heck, did my Zoom go? Oh, there it is. Okay, cool. Okay, there we are. We got E. We got the great Matt Scott in the house. Me and John.
Yeah.
Matthew Scott's always sitting back in that Barker lounger there like he's the king.
Keeping it real.
Love it. Hey, guys, turn your phone sideways so we can get a better picture of you guys. There you go. Good job, Lincoln. I love how you listen. Good job, man. I don't know where Ethan went. Olin, what are you in a dungeon?
Yeah.
Basement.
There's Bryson. What's up, Bryson?
Far away. There you go.
Oh, look at that. It's Matthew Kelly. Look at that. I love the beds. There's a Penn State bed and a Michigan bed. That's awesome. That's awesome. Although if that was in my house, I think we'd light fire to that Michigan bed.
Ian, Nolan, Matt, Bailey,
Colin.
Bryson, Greg Colin.
Colin Winfield, I've seen so much of you on Zoom lately. It's making my head spin.
Say hi. They're talking to you.
Yes, Mom.
Hello,
Georgina. With a guest appearance. Mom, with a guest appearance.
Listen, what can I say?
Brought his mom to this
Georgina, we're just actually happy that Colin's not hiding under a hood like this and with half his face showing in the dark. There's the man.
Scoot over.
Hey, Coach Brett, how's it going?
What's up?
How you doing? We're letting everybody filter in here. So
All right.
we have 42 kids on this team. So
Yes.
we'll see how many show up. We usually get at least 50% participation. So we'll give them a minute or two to jump in here.
All right. Patience is a virtue.
For some reason, my video, I can't see anybody else.
You can't?
Rob, you can see me?
Yeah. You have it on speaker view or do you have it on gallery?
No, the problem is I've got 3 different cameras, so I got to figure out what the heck's going on here.
Well, you got to get all your good sides, right?
I don't have a good side.
Yeah, we can see you, Coach Kelly.
Hey, perfect. How you doing, Brett?
I'm great, man. It's great to see some familiar faces.
Yeah. There's Ian. See who else.
I wish I could see you. I can't see anything right now, so I'm going to try to get this thing fixed. So give me a minute here.
No worries. Give everybody another minute here to jump in. Drew, can you set that camera up so we can see sideways there, bro?
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. Well done.
What's up, Drew?
Here comes somebody else.
Full house tonight, huh?
I hope so.
All right. There we go.
Charlie.
Got you all over.
Christian.
Oh, he's gone. Oh, there he is.
All right, as you guys pop on, except for the coaches, everybody mute your own cameras as you guys pop on, if you don't mind.
There we go. Now I can actually see everybody.
Now we got to turn you off, Coach, so we don't see you.
You know, I see your face here. You can't say much there, Chief.
Hey, we got a similar glare going on.
I tell you, I'm getting sunburned from sitting in my office all day.
That's the required haircut for coaching on this staff, guys.
It is.
It is. It's it. That's it. You got to have the dome or you're not on.
So how many folks we got here, Rob?
We got about 20, like 18 right now. I know Brennan's parents just texted. He said he's on his way in. So give him one more minute here. Late comers, make them run laps next time we're allowed to see them.
Soon.
Awesome. Well, we don't want to take up too much Coach Brett's time, but hey guys, I wanted to take a second and introduce to you Brett Manney, guys. Tell you a little bit about Brett. If you don't know much about him, you guys should all have Googled as soon as I sent this out that we were meeting with him today. But Brett is a true Philadelphia boy. He hails from Philadelphia. He went to Holy Ghost Prep. He was a three-sport athlete at Holy Ghost, guys. Three-sport athlete. He was inducted into their Hall of Fame. He played lacrosse, obviously, soccer, and basketball. I know we have some soccer players on the team here. I'm going to send Ryan Bender a text here in a second, get him on. He starred at the University of Delaware, made a Final Four appearance, right? Unfortunately, we didn't walk away with the chip, but he made a Final Four appearance. He's a two-time member and captain of Team USA. He coaches NXT Lacrosse, and he coaches at the Haverford School. And he's a 12-year veteran of playing pro lacrosse. Okay? Guys, I'm going to turn it over to Coach Brett. He's going to tell you a little bit about his lacrosse journey, ask you guys some questions, drop some wisdom, because he has absolutely forgotten more about lacrosse than I ever knew. So, Coach Brett, we're going to turn it over to you.
By the way, that's not too hard right there.
I appreciate it, Rob. Guys, thanks for having me on here.
Hold on 1 second, Brett. If one thing, guys, turn your Zoom on speaker view so we can see Coach Brett up nice and close and personal there. All right. All you, Coach.
Yeah, so I appreciate it. Thanks for the introduction there. I'm from Bucks County. I grew up in a small town called Newtown. And like Coach Rob said, I went to Holy Ghost Prep, which is an all-boys high school, roughly 400 boys. Went to University of Delaware. And then since graduating from the University of Delaware, I've been playing professional lacrosse for the last 12 years in the MLL and the NLL. And that continues to drive me as a player and as a competitor. And I've been fortunate enough to play for Team USA twice, to captain those teams, to get the respect from my peers. I'm the captain of the New England Black Wolves right now in the NLL. So I've seen it all, been to a ton of places. I've played in front of 44,000 people, and I played in front of like 40 people playing the game of lacrosse. And the interesting thing is, it doesn't matter how many people I'm playing in front of. It's about playing the sport and how much it means to me. And I've been fortunate enough that some of the kids on here have coached you, and I'm coaching at the Haverford School. So that's an exciting place to be at, and to coach some of those young individuals there. And the game of lacrosse has really given me a lot. It's what I do full time and play lacrosse, and I work for a lacrosse company, and I have to make sure that I'm on top of my game at all times because there's so many great young lacrosse players like you guys that are coming up, and ultimately might take my job playing lacrosse. And kind of one of my goals has always been to play against kids that I've coached, and that's starting to come to fruition now in the last year or so. And it also means I'm getting old. So I'm always trying to stay on top of my game, staying great physical shape, but also develop as a person and as a leader as well. So you guys are in an area of Parkland that, which I've been telling college coaches and other high school coaches for the last 5-10 years, that's a growing, people consider like you guys Philadelphia. And I consider you kind of like an extension, a branch that is growing and continues to grow. And ultimately, you guys might be your own tree up there because of all the talent that's come out of Parkland and Southern Lehigh, Emmaus area in the last few years. So you guys bring a little bit different grit and attitude to like the kind of Philadelphia lacrosse scene, which I'm certainly excited to see and see that continue to grow. So be very proud that you're from Parkland and know that there's people out there that appreciate Parkland kids in that area, in that community, and you guys are on the rise.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Hey, guys, Coach, we wanted to open it up and let the kids ask you a few questions. If that's all right with you?
Yeah. Yep. Go ahead. Fire away. There's no dumb questions.
Don't be so sure of that.
I was going to say, give him a minute.
All right.
Someone's going to ask me my name.
Who wants to chat first, guys? Who wants to talk? Oh, Let's go, Bryson. Let's hear what you got for Coach.
What was it like being on the USA, being a captain on the USA team?
It's extremely rewarding and very humbling, Bryson. And to know that, you're playing with the other best guys in our country is pretty rewarding. And there's that satisfaction that, when you play professionally, it's almost like, hey, I made it. And then once you're there, it's like, well, how much can I contribute? How good of a player am I going to be professionally? And, it never dawned on me the fact to wear a USA jersey, let alone be a guy that all those other guys would follow. So I think it's a testament to myself and kind of how I handle myself, my preparation, my attitude, all that type of stuff, my relationships with all the guys on the team, how it goes into that, knowing that when the time is tough and we're playing Canada and the Iroquois, these guys are looking at me to lead them. And, I can't take plays off, and I can't be a bad teammate and be negative all the time. I got to lead by example, knowing that all these other guys that are names that you guys probably know and other players are looking at me to lead them in the toughest time. So I think it's a very, very big honor, and it's a huge hat to wear, but one that I wanted to fill up and lead by example, to lead, our country, because at the end of the day, we live in the best country on earth. And whether you guys realize that or not, we do. And in these uncertain times, the fact is that you can play for this country and compete for it and battle, knowing all the people that have battled in real life battles and wars before you to give us this freedom is exceptional. And, that's why we say the red, white, and blue, and knowing that you when you put that sweater on, it's more than just playing for someone. You're playing for your country and the people that have fought and died for your country, and that will continue to, so you can play the great game of lacrosse.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, who else got a question for Coach? Go ahead, Matt Scott.
When you were younger, did you have to work towards where you are right now, or did you pick up the skill right when you started?
So Matt, when I was 13, I first picked up a lacrosse stick. So I was older than you guys that are on the call here right now. And when I did, it was just to have a catch with my sister, who was a freshman in high school. I didn't start playing till I was in 8th grade, and I was on Lower Bucks. I don't even know if that still exists. Lower Bucks, Council Rock, like that area. And I was on the B team. We were like a rec team, and I was on the B team. So really, that's when I first started playing, and I was kind of a little bit behind, but also that drove me to be better, knowing that I was very gifted in basketball and soccer at that time, and I wanted to bring lacrosse up to those levels or exceed them, because I started playing those at a younger age. So therefore, I had that chip on my shoulder where I wanted to be just as good a lacrosse player as I was in basketball and soccer. So I had to work really hard at it. And it didn't really come to fruition until college, when I stopped playing soccer and basketball and I could just focus solely on lacrosse. But that also helped me elevate over my peers, because when I did go to college, I wasn't burnt out. I wasn't just playing lacrosse. I was playing all these other sports. And then I was like, oh, this is my ticket. This is how I got into school. Now I'm just solely putting all my attention on the lacrosse, and it made it that much more fun. And then I got to school, and I wasn't as good as when I was in high school. So I continue to work, and I'll be the first person to tell you I have some God-gifted skills. I'm 6'3", and I weigh 225 pounds. I can run really fast, and I can jump really high. So
we're exactly opposite, Coach. We're exactly opposite.
But I had to work on, that would have made me a great football player, because you don't have to touch the football that much. But with lacrosse, you have a variable, you have a stick. So I had to be out hitting the wall, and I had to be working on my left hand and my right hand and watching video and doing all those types of things. So that drove me to be better than all my peers, and knowing that I was blessed with all this athleticism, and how could I use that to be the best lacrosse player.
Wow. Awesome question. Awesome answer. Matt Kelly. Go ahead, bro.
Actually, before we have Matt ask his question, the interesting point that you brought up again, Brett, is the fact that you were a B team player a year from now for a lot of these guys, and we're able to take your play to that next level. So, we do have both A and B players that are on today's call. So, guys, this just shows that the harder you work, if you set your mind to it, it's good to have some God-given talents and something to start from. But at the same time, if you're going to dedicate yourself to trying to get better every single day, anything's possible. Sky's the limit. And this is just another great example of that. So thank you, Brett.
Yeah, Mr. Kyle, even elaborate. Even my freshman year at Holy Ghost, I was on JV for the first part of the year. Then they brought me up to varsity. And my freshman year at Delaware, I barely played. I maybe played 3 or 4 games of games that were blowouts. So nothing was ever handed to me. Nothing was ever easy. I had to go out and take everything and earn it. And that's what I felt was part of the journey and part of the battle was earning that and that, I had to, everything that was given to me, I had to exceed it. And knowing that nothing was just going to be like, I had the God-given gifts, but no one was like, oh, you're in the first midfield line and you're in the A team and you're going to score 4 to 5 goals a game. And that's part of the journey, the ups and downs, the plateaus. It's all along there, and that makes it that much more rewarding.
Awesome. Go ahead, Matt. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
You're his dad. You're allowed to.
Was Delaware the college you wanted to go to?
Great to see you, Matt. Was Delaware? Not at first. Not at all. I was a big Rudy fan. Like Rudy, the football movie came out when I was maybe 7 or 8. So I loved Notre Dame. I love Notre Dame football. I love Notre Dame basketball. And quick story, I actually told this last week on a podcast someone had me on. I went out to Notre Dame. I wrote them letters, and I went out there as like an unofficial visit. And my dad and I went out in the summer, and we're like, hey, are you guys going to be by the office? They're like, yep. And they really weren't recruiting me. And my dad and I were lost trying to find their office. And a basketball coach came by. And this basketball coach knew me as a basketball player at Notre Dame and not a lacrosse player. He's like, huh, hold on, what's your name, Brett, man? I'm like, yeah, I go to Holy Ghost. He's like, Holy Ghost? He's like, huh, I know who you are. And I was like, go figure. Like, I'm here not to get recruited to play basketball. And that guy knows who I am, but the lacrosse coaches didn't really know. So this guy took me and my dad around on a tour of Notre Dame's basketball arena before we actually went inside and met with the lacrosse coaches, because this guy was also a Philly guy. But I really wanted to go to Notre Dame. And then once I kind of realized that wasn't going to happen, I kind of narrowed down my other choices. And I picked Delaware, as crazy as it sounds, April of my senior year, because I said I wasn't going to commit to a school until I was done playing basketball. And we went to the state championship in basketball my senior year. So that was like end of March. I waited 2 weeks and I committed to Delaware. So I really wanted to go to Notre Dame, but then when that wasn't in the cards, I knew Delaware really liked me and offered me a spot to go there. And I loved the school. Like, it was right up there, and I don't regret for a second going to Delaware. I bet the Notre Dame coaches regret not recruiting me, but one man's trash is another man's treasure. And I loved every second at Delaware.
Wow, that's awesome. All right, who's up? Who's next? Bailey Wetmore. You were thinking about raising your hand because you knew I'm calling on you anyway. Go ahead, Bailey. Come up with something to talk to Coach about. You're on the spot.
How about this, Bailey? I'll give you 30 seconds to think about it. How about that? I'll ask a question here really quick. So, Brett, how did you get into box lacrosse? Again, you've been a veteran of box lacrosse for so many years. How did you ultimately get into that? Is it something you did while you were at Delaware? And at the same time, what advice would you give to kids? Because a lot of these guys play box, either rec box or with NXT or with PenLax. So what's some advice you might give to them for box?
Yeah, I never played box until my first box training camp when I was 23 years old. So I didn't even wear rib pads. And you guys can imagine like how dumb that would be. Granted, I was an adult, but I didn't know any better. With that being said, one of my assistant coaches at Delaware said he thought I would be a good box player as well because of my basketball background. So that's how I really got in, and I was able to adapt pretty quick because I was playing basketball and understand picks and rolls and that type of stuff. And then I caught on to it fairly fairly quick, I guess, if I made the team. So having that background in basketball made me really enjoy box lacrosse. And what I tell young kids like you guys now, especially if you love the game of basketball, you should play box. But once I started playing box, dude, I was like unstoppable in field. And I'm like this downhill dodging midfielder. And I'm like, like I can go a little bit slower and my stick skills are better. And anything inside of like 8 yards, I'm automatic. So that makes everything a whole lot better and different. And then you get to the level I'm at today. And I heard Matt Rambo talk about this because I told him, I'm like, hey, if you want to be the best lacrosse player in the world, you need to play box. You need to play box. You can't just play in the PLL because all those Canadians don't even care. All the Canadians are like, well, if you can't crack it in the big boy NLL league, then you're not considered one of the best players in the world. And that's the highest level. No one cares what the media says. No one cares what a coach says. It's all about your peers and the respect of your peers and how good you are to them. And, that's why, Rabel has played box. And you look at all the guys on Team USA, they all have played box, whether it was for 2 to 3 years or whether it was 8 or 9 years. So that's what I wanted to challenge myself as well, being like, all right, I made it. I played professional outdoor and at a pretty solid career at college. Could I also excel at box? And, playing field doesn't really help your box game, but vice versa. Playing box only helps your field game and makes you that much more of a player. And when you're dealing with college coaches and you say, hey, like this kid does this, this, and this, and by the way, like he plays box, they're like, oh, wow. Like that's impressive because they all have, when they see Canadians, they have all their eyes like sparkle knowing how talented the Canadian players are because they play box.
That's
Right.
awesome.
It's amazing because one of the things that stood out to me when we brought Bailey and Matt and Colin and everybody down to the NXT tryout was one thing that really stood out to me that you guys said, all the coaches echoed it at the end of that is you talk to any successful lacrosse player. If you want to be good at field, you play box. If you want to be good at box, you play box. If you want to be good at lacrosse at all, you play box. And it just echoed the way you guys said that, and what you just said makes total sense. And I literally saw a difference in all three of these kids that we bring down to NXT like that. I mean, when they came out and were hitting the field in the spring, it showed the quickness and the stick skills. Matt Kelly, the development that he had from last year, this year, just in box was just, because of his box, was phenomenal. So that's why we got Bailey involved. So thanks for saying that. It's amazing.
Yeah, no, it's awesome, like getting to coach the guys and the Parkland kids. And look, like, yeah, I coach for NXT and we have a great staff, but also, there's Penn LAX and it's Steve Holmes and Kevin Crowley. And there's other guys that are in this area that played box lacrosse and are very good coaches. So I think you guys are very fortunate that we live in this area where there's an abundance of guys that know the game of box, whereas in some areas that's not the case. So I think the kids here and how it's growing, it's literally like us and Long Island are the hotbeds for box lacrosse, and it's amazing to see how many kids are playing in this area.
Yeah, and actually, how many also got selected for U.S. national team as well? Because there were a lot of Philly kids that actually made the Pee Wee rosters, the Bantam rosters, and the midget rosters. So,
all right, Bailey, you had about 10 minutes to think about a question there. So, what'd you come up with, kid?
What did it take to get you to where you are today?
Ooh, Bailey, loaded question. Just attitude, really, to be honest. And I always tried to have a positive attitude. And for guys that know me really well, like, that's just kind of part of my DNA. I'm always optimistic and positive, and I trust on myself. Like, I put all the chips in my corner, knowing that, if I can't do something, then no one can. And you had to work hard. Like I said earlier, I had to work hard and outwork my competition. So I knew that there were kids all over the country that were playing wall ball or doing sprints. And I'm like, you know what? I could do another sprint. I could hit the wall for another 5 minutes. I could watch I could watch another game film to be better. So to get me to where I was really hard work and belief. I believed in myself, and also too, I'm not gonna unwaver the support I had from my parents. They sacrificed so much. They They drove me everywhere. They were dedicated to me. They believed in me, would come to my games, drive me to practice. So all the effort that they put in, they sacrificed everything. Some personal relationships that they could have been with their friends and stuff like that to support me. And I think that's vital. So if you're able to believe in yourself and you have a mission and a goal, shoot for the moon. Because even if you fall short, you land amongst the stars.
Awesome.
I think he answered your question, Bailey. What do you think? All right. Who else? Let's get at least one more question in here, guys. And then we don't want to take up too much of Coach Brett's time. He's been generous with it. So who's got one more?
And by the way, Rob, if we run out, I have a whole list. So
I know you do. I know you do. I know you do. So that was not a concern of ours. Come on, guys. Anybody else? I'm going to call on
Grancher.
Johnny Garancher's got one. All right. Of course. It should be good.
I'm going to ask about where you can get the best cheesesteak in Philly.
No. His question right here is, can ugly kids make it in the pros?
I'm living proof. That's why they have helmets. That's why we wear helmets.
What's up, Johnny G?
Hey,
This
Brett,
guy right here, just let me preface this. This kid who's about to talk to you is one of the most natural shooters. He's a lefty. He's a natural lefty. He's a rocket. He can play midfield. He can play OD. He's a sick attackman. This is a special kind of kid right here. He's a dog out there on the field. He doesn't come off unless you got to pull him off. So
I love it. Southpaw too.
Send me your bill, Coach Rob.
There you go. And we want him down there at NXT with us next winter too. So just saying.
Nice.
All
Go,
right.
Johnny G.
Do you like box or field better?
You stole my question.
Johnny, great question. That's a loaded one. Professionally, I love the box game better because of the fans, the cities that you get to play at. You wear a suit to a game, so it's very professional in that manner. And really, when you boil it down, the guys are better guys. They're more kind of low key, blue collar. It's not like all those guys are putting shirtless workout videos together and doing all this stuff. They're much more humble crew. But
Coach Rob.
That ain't me, bro. Not after quarantine.
Yeah. I grew up playing field, so when I have such a tight bond with my college buddies, and anytime I can kind of go out there and play field. The one thing which I love about field is you can mix box into field, which is very nice. You can't do that on the other side. You can't really mix the field game into box. So I'm sitting on the fence there, but I'm giving you the advantages of each, if that helps a little bit, Johnny. And a best cheesesteak place is Steve's Princess Steaks, bro.
Yes, Steve's Princess Steaks.
No, I mean,
for tours.
I was gonna say, Pat's and Gino's. I haven't even been there, and I've lived in the area now for 20 years. So
Dude, I'm a Tony Luke's fan myself.
now that I would do. Yeah, Tony Luke's I would do.
Tony Luke's right by the stadium, right down there by the link.
I had it a couple weeks ago. I had a roast pork sandwich from there with some broccoli Rob a few weeks ago.
That sounds delicious. I'm starting to think of the Reading Terminal Market already here.
Yes.
But, don't get me going. We could do a whole nother Zoom just on food.
Well, one thing you brought up though was the influence of box on field, and if you look at Milliman and the success that he had up at Cornell, he was using a lot of box, pairs offense and things of that nature. Actually, at Cornell, and now he's heading down to Johns Hopkins. And I thought it was interesting that he brought John Grant in to be the offensive coordinator down at Hopkins. I was just curious, did you have any thoughts about that hire, about John Grant going down there? Just curious what your thoughts are on that.
I was a little taken aback. I thought they would hire a Hopkins guy because they have a pretty good tree. Sean Nadelin's head coach at Towson. Greg Raymond's head coach at Hobart. So those two guys have done really good things at Hopkins. Jameson Ketcher, who we hired as his defensive coach, is a good buddy of mine. We played together. I played against him in college. So that was very smart to get at least one Hopkins guy in there and really –
He's the defensive coordinator, right? That they brought on board, the blonde-haired kid? Yeah.
Yep. And then Pete Milliman, I think, is really going to rely on John Grant Jr., to be completely honest. I think he's going to turn over the offense and listen to what he has to say, because that's a guy that wasn't coaching that much until about 7 years ago. And he went from coaching club to coaching Valor Christian, which is a high school in Colorado. Led them to a state championship. And then next thing you know, he goes from there to Air Force, and then from Air Force to Hopkins. So
Wow.
I think it's going to be interesting. I think they're going to get a lot more Canadian kids that are going to come there because John Grant Jr. is there. And what you guys need to understand, this is really crazy. Canadians will pick a school based off what Canadian players, or if they know an American box player that's played there.
Really?
So kind of like when kids are trying to maybe consider a college for basketball, like Kentucky or Duke or something that's like really good at pushing kids to the next level to play in the NBA, Canadian kids will look and be like, oh, like you had Jordan Hall and Curtis Dixon and John Grant Jr. at Delaware? Yeah, I'll go. It's like, well, do you need to step foot on campus? Like, you want to come down? They're like, no, I'm good. So, I mean, a lot of those guys pick schools based on like the pedigree of the professional players that have come through there, which is not what I'm telling you guys to do at all. But Canadians will
They do that though. Maybe another question. Anybody else, guys?
Kevin, we know you got 20 of them, so we'll let
No, I just saw Matt's hand go up. Go ahead, Matt.
Matt, you saying hi, or did you have a question?
You want to go to the PLL?
If I could have, I would have. Paul and I were roommates my first 2 years out of school. We were both drafted out the same year and graduated the same year out of school. And what he's doing for the game is great. Will it work? I do not know, but at least he's taken a chance because the model that was going on this summer wasn't working. But unfortunately, I haven't been able to play outdoor lacrosse for at least 6 or 7 years because of my full-time job. So every weekend in the summer, I'm running a different recruiting tournament or a youth event or an individual showcase. That's my full-time job where I can't play in the PLL. So, but I think if that was not the case and I was like a college coach or I had like a regular 9-to-5 job, I would have taken a chance with it based off of he was paying guys a lot more. They were getting treated better, and it was a different kind of mentality. So I hope that it works, and I think time will tell. And I give him a lot of credit for trying. But if I would still have the opportunity to play an outdoor lacrosse, I probably would have, because there's also a lot of peer pressure. Like all those guys are my friends that went over there and played. So I probably would have wanted to play with my buddies and play against the best too.
Yeah.
So
that was great to see. Sorry, go ahead, Rob.
No, just a quick question for you with the sticking with the pro lacrosse game. We know that you're, you play for the New England Black Wolves. You're a Philly boy. You're in a contract. Have you been elbowing anybody to get a trade back to the Philly market to play for our Wings?
I haven't been elbowing anyone. It's more or less of last 2 years they've been giving me some bruises, elbowing me to get back. And it's really tough. I'm a very loyal guy. And if we never – so for you guys that don't know, the Wings have been back for 2 years now. And the team that I'm on was the Wings, and we moved up to Connecticut. So I played for the Wings for 4 years. And the last 6 years, I've been playing in New England. So I would have never left the Wings. I would have been with them for a decade. And if I would have stayed with them, I think I would have been the all-time leader in games played and stuff like that. So I have given a lot to this franchise up in New England, and they treat me very well. The fans are great. It's crazy. Like where we play, there's like multiple
Mohegan Sun Casino.
Mohegan Sun Casino. There's like a massive 20-foot poster of me like in a couple of different places. So it's very humbling too when I walk around there and see that they throw all their eggs in my basket, and I want to finish what I started there. I want to leave it a better place than how I found it. I want to get them a championship, and then maybe I can come back to Philly in another capacity as a coach or a GM or something like that down the line would be really cool. But I'm loyal to that fan base and that organization for now. I like beating the Wings.
That's awesome. There's a couple of us that are season ticket holders down there, so yeah, we cheer when you do well, but we cheer when we beat you too. So
yeah, I'm the same way. I want them to do well, just not when they play up. Being a Philly guy, I live in Philadelphia. It's very rare for someone to live in a market where there's another team, but I want them to do well, just not against us.
And now you got the Philly Barrage back as well. So
Yeah, and that's cool. I'm hearing that they might play down in Chester, where the Union play, but that's also another great avenue for kids to watch the game of lacrosse, and hopefully they can play some games this summer.
Absolutely.
any other kids have a question before Coach Kevin hits them with 10 more? All right,
Well, it's related. Yeah. So, one of the things that we're really stressing with the kids is that they need to stay active, even in a time of a pandemic. And so we've been putting together with K-17 Sport. So with Kenrick Smith, who's on the line, actually, he's one of our assistant coaches. But we've been putting together workouts for the kids to do every single week. We're going to be actually talking about this week's workout here in just a couple of minutes. But one question we've asked everybody, and by the way, we've had calls. We had Rob Pinnell a couple of weeks ago who joined us. We had Mike Bender, who's the Parkland head coach, with us last week, who also just got drafted by the Connecticut Hammerheads. We've got Coach Patrick Myers from Lafayette, who's going to be with us next week. And then we've got Coach Charles Junta, who's going to be with us, as we wrap up the month of May. But one of the things we definitely wanted to touch on each of those calls is, what are you doing to stay in shape? What's some advice to other players, youth players, about staying in shape in this downtime?
Yeah, it's wild. 500 push-ups a day is really what I'm doing. I just saw that Matthew put that in there. But I would say first and foremost, guys, talk about what a small world lacrosse is. So I knew Rob Pinnell from when I was at Delaware because his best friend went to Delaware. When I was a senior, he was a freshman. And Rob at that time was a senior at one of the boarding schools, and he actually wanted to go to Delaware. He would have committed Delaware and supposedly would have stayed with his commitment even if Cornell came around, if Delaware would have recruited him instead of Quinnipiac where he originally committed. So we lost out on Rob Pinnell. Quick Rob Pinnell story. Phenomenal lacrosse player. Charles Junta, when people say they're from Philly, Charles Junta's from Philly. Okay. That dude was awesome to watch in high school. He was an undersized long pole that was a pest and was all over guys. He ended up playing at St. Joe's. He would take face-offs, cover guys all over the field. And now he's an assistant coach at Fairfield. Phenomenal dude. He grew up in South Philly, not far away from Tony Luke's, Rob, and everyone says they're from Philly. That cat's from Philly. Mike Bender is such a nice dude, great guy that I talk to year round. And then Coach Myers, we run an event with Coach Myers. So I'm fortunate enough where I get to work with Coach Myers once a year, him and his brother. We do an event down in Georgia with those dudes. And, they're in charge of Team USA. So that's great. That's talking about a quick little side note, how small the lacrosse world is.
It is a small world.
Names, and I'm like, boom, 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 boom. But I would say when it comes to working out, it's do something different all the time. I know some of you guys probably have Instagram. I started doing this workout thing called Rumble. It is a boxing thing. It's a boxing workout where they have different classes that are in cities. But with going on now, you do shadow boxing where they have different people for 25 to 30 minutes a day. And I was doing these Rumble classes like a maniac. I probably did 12 over the course of 2 weeks. And then I got a little bored and I wanted to do something else. So what I would say is don't get stale. Always look for different types of things to do. And with the internet, with social media, you guys can find different workouts that you can do to stay in great shape. Not it's Monday, I got to run 5 miles again. It's Tuesday, I got to do sprints. It's Wednesday, I got to do agility. So make it fun. Do things that are different and out of the box and really test yourself in what you want to do. Because that's what I do. I live in the city. I can't drive to Parkland High School and work out or have a backyard behind me. So I literally will run and follow green lights in the city. And then I go to a spot where I know there's a park bench or steps and I'll do workouts there or different sprints in a parking lot, do hill ramps. So be creative as you can be when it comes to the workouts. And then when it comes to lacrosse workouts, just get a little bit better every day, a little bit better. So if you're hitting the wall, hit the wall 50 times with your right hand, 50 times with your left, and don't drop it. If you do, stay out there until you can do it. And then walk along the wall, 50 right, walk along the wall, 50 left. And then the next day, it's 51. And then it's 52. And then you're setting goals and you're getting better and better and better every single day that you're out there. Then you're doing behind the backs and all that type of stuff. Become the best friend with the wall or rebounder. If you guys have a brother or sister or anyone that can have a catch with you, that's great. Like my dad didn't never play lacrosse, but he would whip out a baseball glove and he would catch it with me. I used to play wall ball in my fireplace, my parents' fireplace. They wanted to kill me. So whatever you can do to be better than what you were yesterday is paramount. Make an awesome playlist, put in like your headphones, and then go at it for 20 or 30 minutes a day.
Awesome.
So
By the way, what's on your playlist?
What is on my playlist? When I'm relaxing, I like a lot of country. And then
I can actually
when
see
I'm,
that. I can see
yeah.
that.
So big country guy. But if I'm like kind of working out and I'm running, I like the DJ Kygo, Kygo. And then some old school, like maybe hip hop every now and then, like Eminem, 50 Cent, that type of stuff. I'm not a big fan of like new rap, but you know, I like country when I'm relaxing.
So, Coach, you talked over and over and over again about changing it up and about that you were a multi-sport athlete growing up. And I know that the push these days on the kids is to start specializing at such a young age, yet the college coaches want these guys to be they preach they want multi-sport athletes, but yet there's such push for them to specialize. So how would you suggest the kids balance it out? How important do you see the multi-sport athlete being? And at what point is it safe to start honing in on what your goals are as far as specializing?
Yeah, I think it's tough because the college coaches speak out both sides of their mouth, because if a kid's a phenomenal lacrosse player and that's all he does is play lacrosse, then they're going to recruit him. So kind of like what I was saying earlier is I found it beneficial to play all these other sports. And then that way, when I got to a point in time where I had to just pick lacrosse, I loved it. And I wasn't dreading waking up to practice early in the morning or when it was cold outside, because that was new to me. And therefore, I was able to just focus on that. And I was able to incorporate basketball stuff, like playing a pick and roll in basketball and using the same philosophies to lacrosse and being like, all right, if I know this pick's coming, like I can't just look at this pick. I got to look at someone off ball sleeping. Maybe I can like throw it to someone backdoor. And then defending a pick and roll in basketball was the same kind of way. It was like hedging on a screen, meeting a guy, but now you can hit someone. So being able to incorporate, even like with hockey, and there's great stuff with wrestling and face-offs and getting ground balls, and hockey with your hands and having soft hands. So the stuff that you are taught and then you just start to do, it becomes muscle memory. That helps so much. But the more you can kind of do, and then there's going to be a point in time where, you know, maybe you're in high school, and I wouldn't say it's like your freshman year, but maybe it's your sophomore or your junior year where you say, hey, I'm gonna focus on this. And I've also seen it the other way too. I've seen kids that maybe committed to a school. They were going to Penn State and they were like a junior and they committed, and then it was senior year and all they were really playing was lacrosse and nothing else. And then senior year, like, you know, I'm going to go try out for football. I'm going to try out for basketball. I know when I'm playing at the next level, and this is going to be the last time I can play this sport competitively, then I'm going to go try to do that and help my school. So I've seen it play out the other way as well. But the more you guys can play and stay active, like I said, by the time you go to school, whether it's a Division 1, 2, or 3, it's a job. And you better love lacrosse or whatever other sport you're playing, because that's really all you're doing. You know, you're doing that just as much as you are academic.
Wow. Coach, you got another one for him? Because I have one question when we want to wrap up.
Why don't you go ahead? I've got, you know, a couple others, but I'll save them for the next time we see each other there, Brett. So.
All right.
Well,
good, Kelly.
So this question is actually more for my older son, Lucas, who can't be here right now. But Lucas is a junior. And as you know, he goes to Parkland High School, very competitive school, very deep school, put out, I think it was 7 Division I players last year. So he was buried on depth chart. This year would have been his first year as a starter on the varsity team. He lost the whole season, lost all his game film, no game film on this guy, and potentially no summer. Now you do so much on these recruitments and showcases. What would you say to someone like Lucas, who never got a chance to showcase his talent, and he's probably not going to get to put anything really on the field until next spring?
Yeah, I would tell someone like Lucas is like, don't feel bad for yourself, because there's so many other Lucases that are out there. And, you know, you can hear the excuses, but we're all in the same boat. So you can be like, oh man, like there's so many other 2021 that were like, oh man, this was going to be my year. And unfortunately, you know, it got taken from him. And rather than make that excuse, he can use that as motivation. Be like, when I come out of this, I'm going to be better than I was coming in. And I'm going to be in the best shape. And my stick's going to be that much more dialed in. And someone's going to find a home for me. And at the end of the day, too, guys, like, I can tell you this, like, bluntly, like, by being also a good person really helps. And being a really good kid, because you're going to get a point in time where you're going to need an advocate. You're going to need an advocate, whether it's your high school coach, it's your club coach, it's your family friend, it's whoever. You're going to need their help to get into a school, whether it's calling Coach Murphy at Penn, or it's calling Coach Mercadante at Ursinus. They're going to talk to you and be like, hey, what's the deal with Rob Wetmore? Like, is he a good guy? Like, I see his grades, but like, give it to me straight. And, you know, many people, myself included, I'm not going to throw someone under the bus, but there's a tone in your voice and how you talk about someone that's different from someone you like, and someone that you're just like, if there's a kid that never pays attention, there's a kid who talks behind your back, who's a dog at practice, you're like, when Coach Murphy calls me from Penn, is like, oh, I got 4.0 kid, he goes to Parkland, and checks off all the list, plays for a great club team too. What do you think about him, Brad? I'm like, he's a nice player, you know? And there's other people that are around the team. But then sometimes if there's a great kid and he's going to practice, he's working hard, he listens to you, he's fun to be around, you're like, wow. Like, I would say, Coach Murphy, you'd be an idiot not to recruit this kid. You'd be an idiot not to. So if you're also a great kid, in addition to being a lacrosse player, that helps too, when it comes down to the recruiting. So if you have a great attitude, you know, whether it's your son, Rob, or it's another 2021 that's out there, you want someone that's going to battle for him, knowing that, like, hey, he's a good kid and he works really hard and he's going to be somewhere and he's going to help a program.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Brett. Hey, guys, before we let Coach Brett go, because he's been so generous with his time here, you know, we can ask one last question, or we can give Coach a chance to have some parting words before we get out of here, guys. So do you have any last minute advice for these kids, Coach, before we let you off the hook here? You've been so generous with your time.
Yeah, I would just say lacrosse is a great game. It's opened up so many avenues for me, from like my work to my personal relationships, which I have with my friends, my fiance, like all of that has come through lacrosse. And you know, and I've played basketball and soccer, and the closest people that I've connected with are the lacrosse people. So, you know, you guys are also very fortunate too. Like we talked about it previously, that you have the Wings that are in town. You know, the Barrage are coming back, so there's professional lacrosse. There's great Division III programs in the area. There's great Division I programs that are in the area. There's games on TV, whether it's college games or it's PLL games, it's MLL games, it's NLL games that you guys can watch, which I never had. And take advantage of all the resources which are given to you, because some kids in other parts of the country don't have these luxuries. They don't get to talk to Rob Pinnell, and they don't get to go to a beautiful school like Parkland and have the opportunity to play for top club programs across the country. So never take anything for granted, as you can see, especially now during this time. Never, whether it's you know, playing lacrosse, whether it's time with your mom and dad, your brothers, your sisters, all that stuff is extremely valuable, and have fun. I love playing the game of lacrosse. I have a lot of fun when I'm playing, and make sure you guys are playing it to have fun as well. So as I said, right when I opened up the show with you guys, is that Parkland's awesome. Like, you guys are in a very good school district, and whether that's where you want to go or you want to go to another school, you know, you guys are afforded a great opportunity, and make sure that you don't waste it. Carpe diem, which means is a Latin term for seize the day and seize the opportunity. you guys can freaking do it. So go ahead. That's all I got.
Wow, guys. Hey, Coach, thank you so much for your time. I mean, it's been an absolute honor to spend this time with you. I hope these kids one day appreciate these opportunities to talk to guys that have done it, walk the walk, just like you and Rob Pennell and all the guys that they're having these opportunities to work with. I mean, I think every day that the fact that my son gets to be coached by guys like you, it's just special. So thank you. Coach Kevin, anything before we let him go?
No, again, Brett, thanks for lending us your expertise, your knowledge, your time. And again, this is great for the kids to hear. And one of the other things I did want to quickly mention before we let you go, and we do need to keep the kids on for a few more minutes to talk about this week's workout. But guys, if you're looking for any additional club opportunities, NXT is another great organization, highly organized. Brett is certainly one of the contacts there, along with Marty Kuprian. So Marty is, the head of the youth programs with NXT. Here on our team, Brett, we've got a number of kids that play for Triple H or for Headstrong, but there's also a couple of kids that are actively looking for clubs to join, either for potentially the end of the summer or for next year. And we'll make sure that we're passing them on and pushing them down your way, because NXT is definitely a great organization. So thank you.
I send this video out on YouTube. I'll definitely put the NXT website in there and contact information so that these guys and everybody that couldn't make tonight's conference call has all that. All right.
No, I appreciate it, boys. Go Trojans.
Yeah. All right. Thanks. Hey, everybody unmute yourself. Say thanks, Coach. We'll let them go.
See you, boys. Thank you.
Thanks, Brett.
Coach.
Thanks, Coach. You can let yourself go whenever you're ready. You can hang out and listen to our workout plans. It's up to you.
I got to go eat dinner.
All right.
There you go.
I got to go make it. I'll see you, boys.
Cheesesteaks.
Take care.
Thank
See
you.
ya.
Coach Kenrick, it's on you.
All right. So, yeah, there you go.
All right. Hold on. Let me get you guys outside.
Actually, while you're walking outside, maybe we could do one thing. So, guys, a kid on the team has a birthday coming up this weekend. I don't know if we could maybe take 2 seconds to just sing happy birthday to Matt. Selfishly, I'm asking you so that I don't have to sing to him this weekend. No, I'm kidding, of course. But can we sing happy birthday to him? So if everybody could unmute your lines.
Birthday.
Hold on, unmute your lines.
Sing without Coach Rob now, can you, Kevin? He carries the entire choir.
Well, actually, we're lucky he's not here because his voice will probably break the cameras. So on the count of three here, guys. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Matthew. Happy birthday to you. There you go. And many more. All right. So over to Coach Smith.
All right, guys.
Yeah, he's on.
So this week's workout, I kind of broke it up into two different kind of workouts. Instead of just being like speed and agility, where it's actually like an endurance aspect, for this week. So the endurance, if you guys look at it, it's pretty simple. Okay, it's kind of like a gasser but broken down. Okay, so what you do is you're gonna start with one cone, which is over there. Bryson, go over there, that cone.
What?
Oh, can we have everybody mute your lines, please, guys?
5 paces or 25 yards over to another cone, which I have over there. What you're going to do is you're going to time yourself for 2 minutes, and you're going to run back and forth. Okay, so Bryson, go ahead, run back and forth. So you're going to do this for 2 minutes. All right, touch the cone, right back. That's considered one. All right, and what you want to do is you want to count how many times you get to go back and forth in that 2 minutes. All right, after your 2 minutes, stop, Bryson. After your 2 minutes, you're going to take your cone, Bryson. You're going to take 5 big steps in, so 5 yards. You're going to cut it down, okay? So now you're only going 20 yards, all right? You get in between that 2 minutes of sprinting, you get a 2-minute break. Now you're going to run for 1.5 minutes, all right? So now you're going to go from that cone now. You're going to run back to the other one, 1.5 minutes, all right? You guys want to make sure you're pacing yourself, but as that distance gets shorter, you also want to start moving faster, all right? So you're going to go back and forth like that. It's going to, each time going to get slower, stop, okay? So let's say he just did that for a minute and a half. Now he's going to pick up the cone again, move it in again. 5 more steps and stop. Okay, put it down. Now he's going to go another time, same thing. Okay, so now it's down to 15 yards. He's going to go back and forth. Like I said, as it gets shorter, the time gets shorter, and relax. You want to keep counting how many times you get there, so the next time you do, you can have something to beat. Okay, so if you did the 2 minutes, you did it, let's say 6 times. Next time, try and get 6.5 or 7 or something like that. Okay. The next drill, the agility drill. All right, what you're gonna do? We'll just use the cone here. You want to lay it out. Okay, you're gonna take 5. Go that way. You're gonna go 5 steps straight out from that cone. Okay, put a cone down, then go at a right angle, 5 steps the other way. So you're basically in a 5x5 square, okay, or half square. All right. So what he's going to do is he's going to sprint to the first cone, come right back, sprint back, whoop, sprint back, go around, and then figure 8 around the other cone, straight back at me. Nope, and then he stops. Okay, then you stop right here at this cone, run all the way through the cone. All right, you're going to get about a minute break in between each one, and then you're going to flip the cone that's over there on the right. You're going to move it over to the other side. Okay, and you're going to do 5 over on that side. Take 5 big steps that way. Put it down. All right, do it again. So the key with this, boys, is being really sharp with your cuts, your start and stops too. Nice straight lines, nice and tight to the cones, real fast, explode all the way through that cone. All right, you always want to finish out the drill early. I don't know how many times I watch athletes do this, and if this is the finish line cone, they'll stop right maybe a yard or 2 short of that cone. All right, we never want to do that. If you do that in practice and in your training, that's what's going to happen when you're out there in the game. All right, and you're going to get beat to the ball. Every fraction of a second counts out here. All right, so you add those up, and that's the difference between you getting a ball or making a play and not making a play. All right, so those are our running drills for the week. Okay, I'll quick run through some of the strength exercises. Let's go in our gym quick. Let me take you inside quick. Now, like I was telling you guys before, I think last time is if you guys don't have any weights or dumbbells, you guys can fill up milk jugs, okay? Fill up milk jugs with water, duct tape the tops just like this, all right? And then you can use those. They're 8 pounds, okay? A jug of water is 8 pounds, all right? Hold on, I think Bryson's changing his shoes. Bryson, you don't need to change your shoes. Use the milk jugs, get creative. If there's other things, soup cans, whatever, all right? Use whatever you can, just add weight if you need to add weight, all right? So push-ups is the first thing. We won't go through those because you already know what those are. Scissors, lay on your back. Okay, this is a core exercise. Hands down at your sides. Legs go back and forth, trying to keep those legs straight as possible. If you look at his legs, they're not touching the ground. They're staying 6 inches up off the ground. We're working our lower core. All right? Keep that head back on the ground. Make sure you breathe when you're doing it and relax. Okay, you're going to get up on your feet. Squats. Okay, I think we've done these before too. Okay, squat down. Okay, and then right back up. Okay, legs parallel with the floor and then come back up. Good. And then look, if you look at his feet, nice wide base, toes pointed forward. Okay, go back down again, back up. Good. So you want to, like I said, if it's too easy with no weight, grab milk jugs, grab dumbbells. You can hold them on your chest, on your shoulders, whatever you want, and do them that way. Okay, single leg squats. Come over. You can get a chair, or if a box, or like a weight bench, like we got there. Okay, but he's just going to do them with a foot up on a bench, on a box. Okay, so he's going to go down, right there, back up, looking for a 90-degree angle at that knee, and then straight back up. Okay, you'll do 15 that way, and then you're going to do 15 the other way. Okay, with the other leg. So if you look at him straight on, look how his knee's going forward. His hip, knee, and foot are all in a line. You don't want that knee wobbling in or going out. So really try and secure it. All right. His arms are moving in a straight line. Everything's moving in a straight line. engage your core. You never want your shoulders wavering back and forth. All right, everything stays nice and tight. Okay, elevated feet toe touches, another core exercise on your back. Feet are gonna be straight up in the air, hands over your head. Okay, you're gonna go up, touch those toes with your hands. Okay, right up, there you go. Just like that, every time you come down, your hands and your head touch the ground. Okay, up on your feet. Okay, I'm gonna have Bryson use the milk jugs here, just in case someone doesn't have dumbbells at home. So grab the milk jugs. Okay, we're gonna do bicep curls, okay? So get yourself a nice wide base. We're gonna be using this muscle right here, right in the front. This is your bicep muscle, okay? So you're gonna keep those elbows in nice and close, and then you're just gonna curl them right up to your shoulders and back down, okay? When you go up and down, you wanna keep that back nice and straight. Go ahead. Right there, to show them what you don't want to do. So what you don't want to do is use that whole back. We don't want to do that, okay? Go back to doing it right. Keeping that flat back nice and still, just like that, and relax, okay? The next one we're going to do, bicycle kicks, okay, on your back. We've done the bicycle kicks before, but now we're going to add a crossover crunch. So your hands are going to go back behind your head, and you're going to come across your body, okay? Every time you go down, your head and your arms are going to go back down to the ground. All right? You're going to come across, touch your opposite elbow, and look at his feet again. They're not touching the ground. All right? You're going to keep those legs 6 inches up off the ground, going back and forth. Okay? Relax. Okay? One thing you want to make sure when you're doing these exercises is making sure you breathe. Okay? Always breathe. Don't hold your breath. Okay? Grab one of those weights. Okay, we're gonna do seated tricep extension. We just did biceps. So come on over. You can use a dumbbell or jug. Okay, you're gonna sit right here on the edge. Nope, seated over your head. Oh, yeah. Okay, so you're gonna sit up nice and tall. We're using this muscle now. Okay, on the back side of the arm. We just did the bicep before. Now we're using the tricep. You gotta sit up nice and tall. Gonna drop that weight right behind your head, elbows at a 90-degree angle when they come down, and then fully extended at the top and relax. Okay, for those of you that don't have weight benches at home, we're gonna do butterflies, but lay on the ground. So grab dumbbells again, or you can use the milk jugs with this. Okay, so he's gonna lay flat down on the ground, on your back. Okay. Doing butterflies, okay? So your arms are gonna come straight out to the sides, right there, back up, down, and back up. So if we make a line from hand to hand, it should come a straight line right through his chest, okay? If you have a bench, you can do the exercise on a bench. Okay, and relax. Okay, crunches with your legs 6 inches up off the ground. This is a tough one. You know, body nice and straight. Come up. Get those shoulder blades up off the ground, keeping those feet up off the ground as well. All right. And then seated dips. This has been on your workouts before. You're going to get a box or a chair. Put your feet up. Heels on the box. Dip down, using those triceps again. Okay. If this is too hard with putting your feet on another box, you can put them on the ground. If this is too hard, you can put your feet like you're sitting in a chair, right? Like that, down like that, okay? So again, I put on the sheet that we sent out to you. Whenever you're lifting with weights, you should always have someone in the weight room with you, okay? If you're using weights. But if you're using all body weight stuff, you can do that on your own. But really important to make sure you have good form and technique, and don't move up in weight until you feel strong enough, okay? And that form and technique is nice and solid, okay? If you guys ever have any questions, please let us know so we can kind of help you guys out. But really try and get this stuff done, all right? This is part of the routine. This is what all the great speakers we've had have been talking about, you know, doing this stuff on your own and making a difference. So when we get back out on the field, you guys are all ready to go. All right?
Awesome.
That's it for now. We'll talk to you guys again next week with your next workout.
Awesome. Thank you, Coach Smith. So, Rob, do you want to say anything before I say some parting words? I know you got to jump on another WebEx here.
Yeah, I do. Hey guys, sorry I missed it when I went to the bathroom, but happy birthday, Matt Kelly. I missed the song. Sorry.
Just ran out. The computer died, so he just ran out of my office. So
Sure you guys didn't mind missing my voice, but hey guys, soak this up, man. Soak this up. These opportunities to talk to these not just great players, but great people taking and dedicating and volunteering their time to chat with you guys. It's a special thing. Turn on your cameras for God's sake. And listen, all of your teammates that didn't show up tonight, hold them accountable. They're not off doing anything important right now. We all know that. Hold them accountable. Every one of you, text a buddy from the team that didn't show up tonight and say, dude, what's up? Other than that, guys, those of you that are here, thank you. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for being so attentive to Coach Brett. And Christian, can you pull that just a little bit tighter, please? That's it for me, though, guys. Go ahead, Coach Kevin.
Yeah, guys, it's just a couple of parting comments here. I mean, something that Brett brought up, during the recruiting process later on in life, one of the things that you're going to be having to rely on are the coaches and the great they say about you. So, looking at a couple of faces during the course of tonight's call, there were a couple of folks that were playing with their hair, or maybe were a little bit bored, shaking their computer screen back and forth. All of these leave an impression with people, especially when they're here, presenting to you and taking time out of their busy schedules to be with you. And so what I would encourage each of you to do is, again, come prepared to ask at least one question for the person that is there. That shows a great deal of respect for them and their time and their expertise. 2, look like you're engaged. Again, be listening to what they're saying. Listen to what they're actually saying, because that oftentimes can drive or develop new questions in your mind. Outside of that, the workouts. So again, Coach Smith has done a great job of putting together workouts for us. Your parents have emails from me that have a copy of that workout plan. One of the things that I've tried to make Matthew start doing, for example, is he's now creating a logbook every single day of his workouts. And every single day, he's doing physical stuff in the morning in terms of lifting weights, push-ups, sit-ups, sumo squats, basically the whole gamut in the mornings. And we're going out to the field in the evenings and doing a separate set of drills, whether it's cone drills or shooting drills or things of that nature. But he's keeping a journal of it. And I would encourage you guys to be doing the same. If you're not using the tracking sheet we gave you before, start creating a journal where you can start keeping track of the stuff that you're doing every single day. You guys are all, networked in with one another. You have each other's, text, your phone numbers and so forth. Throw some texts out there. Challenge your buddies to do something, whether it's, see if you can beat 80 push-ups in a minute, or see if you can beat 90 sit-ups in a minute. Challenge your teammates to try and get better every single day, guys. That's a great way for us to stay challenged. It's a great way for us to stay connected. Outside of that, again, greatly appreciate your commitment to being here, guys. We're going to continue to host these through the end of the month. We probably are not going to go into the month of June at this point, but again, we still have 2 really great sessions coming up. One with Coach Myers next week from Lafayette, and one with Coach Junta that'll be coming up in 2 weeks as well. So with that, we'll end tonight's call. I know a couple of you have to get on calls with Headstrong now, but have a great night, guys. Have a great week, and we'll talk again next week.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, guys.
Good night.